So,
Want to pause?
no, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, are we on?
You are.
Alrighty. Just want to make sure we are. Yeah. Ah, yes. Hello, guys. We're going to be here in just a second. Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm really excited that you're here. I'm going to start the show out in a moment with a minute of silence for a really big loss to all of us who worked and watched all my children. John Callahan passed away today. He played Edmund, and it's quite a shock to, I think, everybody, all the fans, and it's also quite a shock to all of his friends. Certainly Eva LaRue and his daughter Kaya. They're probably going through a really hard time, and if there's anything that Todd and I know about, it's sudden loss. So when I read this today, actually Brad, you came on and texted me on Facebook Messenger, and I found out through you, and I just couldn't believe it. I actually had to go to the news and look it up because I just had to make sure it was true. I didn't want it to be true, so I guess that's what we do. And so I went there and found the article, and so apparently John passed away at home last night from a heart attack, and we just loved him. He was he was just a really bigger than life human being. His best friend's name is Art, and Art's wife Deb are fantastic people, and probably his best and closest friends. My heart goes out to them tonight too. I'm sure that none of these people are watching because they would be doing something else besides being on Facebook tonight. So Eva, Deb, and Art especially, and Kaya, my heart goes out to you. So what I'd like to do just right now, before we start the show, because then is give him an appropriate minute of silence. I'd like for everybody to think about what he meant to you as a fan or as a friend. And so we're going to start a minute of silence right now. All right. John, that minute was for you, and I know you deserve so much more, and at 66 years old, this is the last thing we expected. Godspeed on your graduation to heaven, and may you find the peace that you deserve. So there you go, everybody. I'm going to see if I can get my Facebook page up and running now so I can see you all. And thank you for indulging on that. If we only knew when our last day is going to be, that would be really, really, really hard, because did you say things? Did you keep in touch? Did you tell people what they meant to you and all those things? So, we always say it, but I'm going to say it again. If you love somebody, I want you to say it and what they mean to you, and there's no special occasion for that. I think that that's something that we should do all the time, and then we don't have to have unspoken words, and that's great. I just heard from John actually recently. He commented on one of my posts, and it was really funny and cute, and I was like, oh, it's really good to hear from you, but I hadn't been in touch with him other than a post here or there on Facebook. So I'm sure that a lot of people are feeling it, really, really feeling it tonight. So I have you up. Good. You're watching here, Lisa Stokes. Hello there. It's good to have you. You live in Las Vegas now, don't you? Bobby, that's Lisa Elmore.
Yes.
So Lisa Stokes. That's right. My brother lives here too as well. So Lisa, we should get together. I would love to see you. We went to high school together in Florida, so that's really great. Hi Cindy, hi Cassandra, Barry, Nicole, Aaron, Ridgely. It's good. Oh, Aaron, I haven't seen you in so many years. You were there when I went to pick up my my Knight Rider car. So that was Kit. Hey Kathy Winkler and Peggy, and that's right. Hello everybody. I see a lot of people here from New York City, and I know you guys are on freak out mode, and rightfully so. But that again is to really stop what's happening there. So just have faith and do the right thing and stay inside. And Todd got his caffeine, I see. Yes. Did you? You got your caffeine? That's right, but no donut tonight.
Don't leave home without it.
That's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the show with our usual opening. Todd Fisher, prepare the opening. Put your white gloves on, and here we go. Hey, Leslie. Michelle, thank you. I didn't wash my hair today, so it has that like second day fluff going to it. What part of Florida? I went to high school in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm starting to hear from people. Art dance came last night, so tonight we have Lisa, and here we go. Ready? You get? Here we go, everybody. The opening.
Ready?
Yep. There's no place like home. That's right. And that's a good thing because we are all home, aren't we? All right. So, how's everybody's day? Let's start out with that, and then we'll go into, what's going on. I want to hear about everybody. Is everybody doing today? Did you have a better day today than yesterday? I felt a lot better. Seth, I hope you had a better day too. I think some days, there's just some weirdness in the air, and we all feel it. That was my yesterday and a lot of other people. But today I had a peaceful day. I had a lot to do, but it was very peaceful for me.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Won't you be my neighbor? And so here we go. I live in Coral Springs. Oh, yes, know it well. All right. Hey, Melissa, lots of people here. This is good. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm not seeing yet how people are feeling, so I think people are feeling good. That's what I think. Yes, Todd has his Starbucks double shot. Carrie and her Coca-Cola. That is your Coca-Cola.
My trademark. Now, Carrie, of course, never went anywhere without a real can of Coca-Cola. And nobody at a certain point even tried to stop her. There was many discussions that maybe drinking 20 Cokes a day is probably not a good thing. But given some of the other things, it was the better alternative.
What's interesting is that she might have opened 20 cans of Coke a day, but she did not drink 20 cans of Coke, because when she would come over, we would find 15 or so cans of Coke all over the house and various areas of outside.
She liked
much was gone.
She liked it on ice, so she would get a tumbler and she would pour just enough to cover the ice, which is maybe a third of the can at the most. Set the can down and then go on and forget that can is there. Then 20 minutes later, open another can to fill that thing again. This went on. Now, by the way, Coca-Cola loved this because it was a complete revenue stream. It was guaranteed success for that company. Rather than fight this, I just bought some stock in Coca-Cola, and we're all doing fine.
That's right, but I used to find those cans of Coke and think, oh my God, she had 20 Cokes today. And then when I went to pick it up to clean it up, most of the Coke was still in it. Yeah, and I don't drink
20 of these. I will, during the course of the show, I'll sip on one of these. Maybe in the morning I'll have an espresso real one, or potentially that if I'm on the move.
Oh, Liz Cochran, we have 700 police officers here in Jersey that have tested positive for the COVID virus, so lots of prayers
so New York and
there.
New Jersey are getting hit the hardest.
That is rough.
New York City is the hardest, so you got to be the most careful there. Most question, no way that you want to be running around. A lot of people just didn't get to be told what to do early enough, and I think that's why New York is getting hit so hard. Had this started a little earlier, obviously.
Well, and they were telling people that it was no big deal too in New York, so that's why you guys are getting hit so hard. Liz, I really need you to stop volunteering at the restaurant now because I want you to be safe. Liz Cochran, one of my really, really wonderful friends in life out there. We met at a fan event of some sort. Yes, at the Toms River, New Jersey convention place. And we became great friends, and I'll tell that story any day now because it's really great. So we met as a fan and ended up becoming really good friends, and she's an amazing person. She worked at a restaurant and still works at a restaurant in New Jersey. Is it Township? I can't remember, Liz, where it is. But it's they had to close the restaurant down. So
they're probably doing to-go food.
Well,
right?
Yeah, they are, but 4 employees are volunteering, and so what they're getting paid is tips. So not a lot of people would do that, and I think that because you put yourself out there because it's curbside service. So good for you, Liz, for doing that, but now I really want you to do that less because your little town there has been hit really hard. I saw that today. And also Mariana Matthews is here, and I just want to give a shout out to Mariana because Mariana is a fellow hypnotist. She does hypnosis shows like I do, and there's so few women that do what we do. So, it's like, yay! There's so few of us. So, but you know what? She has also gone on the road with me when I need someone to help me with my sound because she understands hypnosis and what it's like to have 20 people on a stage that are under hypnosis and how hard that is to deal with because you have to be very, very mindful of what's happening. And you have saved my tail on many an occasion, Mariana, by going out with me and on the road, and we always have such a good time. So I want to thank you for being such a good friend too, as well as a really good hypnotist. So those are 2 of my girlfriends out there. Now, there's someone that comes every night named Michelle Goff is asking for, can everyone be hypnotized? Okay, so the answer to that is yes, right? See?
Sleep.
1, 2, 3, wide awake. There you go. He's back. The answer to that is yes, because hypnosis is a natural state of consciousness, and you pass through it in and out every day. When you daydream, you're actually in a form of trance. When you pray deeply and you're meditating, that's a form of trance. When you get home and you're parked in your driveway and you can't remember the drive, and you're like, I'm home. How did I get home? I don't remember the drive. You're definitely in a state of hypnosis. So hypnosis is not, when we say sleep, when we are hypnotizing people, we aren't actually putting them to sleep. They're in a halfway.
Twilight.
It's not sleeping and it's not awake. When you're on your way to sleep at night and you're just about to drift off, and all of a sudden great ideas come to you, and you're like, oh yeah, I gotta write that down. Well, that place, that space between sleep and awake is where you are when you're hypnotized. It isn't some, like magic voodoo thing. It's a natural state that you pass through several times a day. So the answer is yes. They can. Everyone can be hypnotized. But here is the way it goes. Not everyone will, because a lot of people they can't focus enough properly. One of the things we look for when people are on our stage and we're doing the hypnosis process, if people are doing this with their fingers when their feet are tapping, you can be sure that they're pretty much not going to make it, and you're going to send them back to their seat because they're not focusing. They have a lot going on up here. You have to quiet that mind, be able to focus on one thing, and that would be the hypnotist. And so not everybody will allow it. Control people are afraid they're going to lose control and all kinds of things like that. But if you're in the hands of somebody really good, like myself or Mariana, who is, then you can relax and focus and just let go. And that's really all it takes. It feels fantastic. You know what? I want to say that anytime I have ever hypnotized anybody, and now that's got to be, I'd say it's in the many thousands after all these years, whenever people wake up at the end of a session or on a stage that were hypnotized, they look 20 years younger. They almost look like little kids to me because their face was in this totally relaxed state. And so all the muscles in their face were really relaxed. And when they wake up, they don't have any tension in their face. And this is something very rare because we carry a lot of tension in our face. So, it's an amazing feeling, but not everybody will be able to get hypnotized. They're able to, they won't allow it. That's the best way I can put it. So there's someone here that comes here named Tom Martin every night. Do you know who he is?
Of course.
Okay. So would you like to say something to Tom Martin? Because
Hi, Tom.
do you know Tom?
Of course.
Well, where do you know Tom from?
We know each other for a lot of years. A lot of years.
A lot of years? Because he's a very zen, peaceful person.
He is.
Hey, Candy Clark. Hey, good looking. Good to see the continuity. There you go. I can barely say. Thanks for showing up. No, thank you for showing up because it's super happy. And my brother's a big fan and he's here. Have you ever met her?
Yes, with Mackenzie.
Now,
Oh, you met her with Mackenzie. That's right. My brother and Mackenzie
night,
were engaged, I think, how many years ago?
I don't even know.
A lot of years ago. So anyway, he has met you before. And I'm looking forward to meeting you.
the other night we
Seeing you again.
might have
Let me
gotten
put it
cut
that way.
off prematurely. Some of you might have been watching last
night, right.
And we had some conflict where we had too many things on the Facebook page, and it was messing up our feed at the end. So there were some questions that were asked that we will get to tonight. And I'll just preview what that's going to be. I won't go into it right this second, but one of the questions had to do with growing up on the back lots of MGM, what that was like for Carrie and I.
You want to slide on
No,
up
I don't
here?
have to go very far. So I brought a book with me tonight that is about those back lots. In addition, I have some home movies that were shot on those back lots, which it will do our best to get them sort of in front of the camera off of a laptop so you can see them. They're silent films that my mother shot of Carrie and I and some of us. It's not many minutes long, but you will then see the back lots in the 60s when they're not at work
Yeah.
and we're just playing on them. And you'll see kind of what a magical thing it was for us to be able to have access to that. Today, of course, nobody would let anybody do what we were doing because somebody would get sued, as soon as you scrape your knee. So
I know. This is such a Sue happy time. I mean, it's been
horrible.
The
It's a
last
horrible
couple of
state.
years, everyone's suing everybody. It's like you're taking the fun out of life, really, because no one wants to do anything, and no one wants to hire people. No one wants. It's very
well.
you know.
It's hurting the world. So,
Yeah.
but that wasn't the message I was bringing. So anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit. Tell some stories about that. Also, the question was asked about Debbie's Meadow, where How the West's one was filmed.
in Uray.
And when I was there last,
Is that Uray, Colorado?
It's above Ridgeway, near
Yeah.
Uray or Telluride, really close to either one. So I can tell a story about that as well. Some of these stories are discussed in my book, but obviously you can't see the home movies and some of the things. Also, I'll tell you the story about me returning to Debbie's Meadow during the Telluride Film Festival and visiting that site again 60 years later, and my mother called. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So those are two stories we were trying to tell the other night
Last
before
night
we
we
were
had
rudely interrupted.
we had really bad technical issues, which I think we figured out. And in less than a week, probably as soon as Todd has some time to figure out things, we're going to have some really fun things happening. We're going to have guests on.
But you can do that from the theater anytime you want. The issue is we're currently sitting in Cat Cosmetics, and so we have limited technology in here. But right next to us is her theater, where we have extensive technology, including multiple cameras, and we could bring in a live guest. So that was what I was talking about, was letting us bring some friends on live via Skype or or iChat or one of these formats, or Zoom, and this would allow people to still remain keep our separation.
We keep our distancing and distancing. But here's the great thing: we will also be able to put like a great picture of that person up. and we will be in control of the questions.
We are always in control of
because
everything.
Facebook is live. I would never just throw a well-known person in front of the camera, without
Well, people would be able
vetting
to
the
do what they're doing
questions.
now.
Yeah.
So you could have some pre-questions, and
Right.
then you could have some live questions.
Yeah, or you just let the bad ones go whoo all the way down to the bottom. Todd,
Also, we promised April 1st that we were going to visit my mother's house.
April 1st, we will be going,
live
taking a
from
visit
her
to Debbie's
room.
house.
So that
going
is
live from there.
only like what, 4 days away or something. So we will be doing that on April 1st in a little mini tribute to my mom, and we'll show you her holy of holies, her favorite stuff, some of her favorite stuff in her favorite little room. Give you some a rare tour of that space, which few people have seen.
And that will be on April 1st, so make sure you put that on your calendar. Just want to give a shout out to Andrew Person, who has joined us tonight. I think this might be your first time, or at least it's the first time that I've been able to see you here. Andy, I am so excited you're here. Andy lives in Pennsylvania, and we have kept in touch over the last, 9 years or so, or 10 years on Facebook now and then, because I was on a book tour for my book, The 30-Day Heartbreak Cure. I was at was it a Barnes & Noble, I think, in this small town in Pennsylvania on the book tour. And I was upstairs doing a reading and meeting with people. And this handsome fellow comes upstairs and stands in the back, and he was, oh, Andy, I gotta think if I can remember, you were like 6'6", and you're just such a handsome lad.
6'10", come on.
No, he really
let's go all the way.
seriously was super tall, because I remember I got a neck ache when I was talking to him. I was looking up.
You used to like tall guys. What happened?
No, I've always liked the small ones to marry, but I like the tall ones to be friends with.
Oh, I did
Yeah.
not know that. But that's a more
Yes.
recent development.
But Andy was in the back of the room, and he was the only guy there, and he was looking for a book in regards to a healing book downstairs, and heard that I was upstairs, had no idea who I was, and heard the name of the book and thought, I'm going to go up there and check it out. And Andy, I'm so glad you did, because I think you're one of the greatest people I've ever met, and I'm glad you're here tonight. So I'm curious about your life.
Well,
I want to hear about it, so let me hear from you.
Well, we just had a question from Peggy, who was wondering if they could also see the Christmas tree.
You want to see our Christmas tree that is up
Well,
all
it's
year?
my mother's
It's
tree.
Debbie's tree, but we keep it up all year because she did. And Carrie kept her tree up all year too. It's kind of a family tradition, and kind of neat too, because it.
And this brings us to our first trivia question of the evening.
Oh, let's get the prize now.
All right.
Get the prize if there's going to be a trivia question.
It's spontaneous.
Yes.
I suggest maybe.
Hey, Tim
How
Fowler.
about a cat Dano?
Oh yeah.
And,
we have cat Danas. Let me show you.
And
We're
every
not-
cat Dana, did you make the announcement that we discussed earlier?
Wait, see the cat Dana
Could you bring-
colors?
Bring me the box.
These are the colors. Tie-dye is not up yet. It'll be up tonight later because we just photographed it. So these are the colors of the cat Danas. We are going to be giving away a cat Dana right now because
And
Todd has a
I
trivia
made
question.
an executive decision without Cat today, which was that we were going
Camo
to
for the guys.
we are going to send you a free, with every cat Dana, a real
Mask?
isolation mask. We already did this today. Every cat Dana that ships
Oh, is
will
that
get
right?
an actual medical mask.
Yes.
Don't touch. We keep them sanitary.
Yeah, but I can use that one.
All right, you can
Okay.
have that. She gets one.
That's right.
But at any rate, so everybody.
So
And here's what's kind of cool about the
I'm
reason.
used to these now, but I put
No,
my
but when
cat
she puts
Dana
that
over
on,
it.
you that's right. So this looks, I think.
Oh wait, let me get my cat Dana.
I
on
don't.
First.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this looks very good for us.
No, it's
anybody.
You look scary in it. I mean, it's who needs to see that?
But when you do the cat Dana over it, it's
Is this
now
the
we're
one
talking
we had before
magic.
in the kitchen? Okay, so I had this on last night. We only have 24 of these, and I know this. Well, one girl's just like, I have to have it. I have to get it up. Okay, so if you are wearing your cat Dana, right, and you don't have anything, then you can just do that. But it's not the same because it will protect you from some things. But when you have to have one of these on,
That's a medical isolation mask.
right, and so Not exactly a fashion statement, but it's keeping us.
Inside out.
It's inside out. All right, but this is just for. And then I put this over it, so it looks a little better.
Well, here.
Yeah.
why
Well,
don't
I
we-
have an earring.
Here,
I have a
let's
feather in my
do it
ear.
like that.
Okay. You make it pretty.
Well, I mean, if you were looking in a mirror, you'd know what it's up to. There you go.
Oh, wait, my eyes.
Blocked your
There we
eyes.
go.
No, but this,
So,
to me, now
that's
we have a
kinda nice.
quasi-fashion
Yeah,
statement
it
while
doesn't look as
maintaining
bad.
proper safety protection while you're making your food run or whatever essential runs that you do have to make. Let's get real. Everybody has to make essential runs when you run
Yeah.
out of TP or you need something to eat. And so, no, it's correct.
Okay.
She meant this.
Oh, this is inside out.
So,
Yeah,
the,
but they're meant to keep your neck warm, or to use as a scrunchie, or to use to take your makeup off at night. This is what a lot of women do, or to wear a kerchief.
did you ever figure out how many uses, how many?
So far I have figured out 5 ways to use it, but they come in all these colors, and we've had these on my website catcosmetics.com for so long, and they've
Years.
always been years.
So
and years.
all of that to say, pick a color that you want. If you are the
If
winner
you're
of
going-
tonight's trivia question, if I can even remember
What it was.
What the heck?
Okay, so we'll figure that out.
Okay, here we go.
Have you got it? Wait a
I
minute.
have it.
You need to give Dora. By the way, thank you for everybody for commenting on Dora's picture last night. The next picture I'll be putting up there is Letty Pena, who is also one of our team, but she's not living here, so she's not here right now. She's the one that answers remotely
This
the
is
emails.
a tough question, is all I have to say.
Can you write it down over there? So
I'll whisper it in your ear.
Oh,
This is a tough one.
It is tough, but
Now,
worth
if
it.
you've read my mother's book, my book, Carrie's book, you will have glanced upon the answer. However, this is not one that you could probably Google very easily, but the answer is in one of those books. So not everybody's going to have access to this. You could take a stab at it on a wild guess. So we were discussing earlier the Christmas trees, the tradition of the Christmas tree. My mother exposed Carrie and I to this
I just
tradition
can't. I
of the
can't
Christmas
imagine
tree.
anyone's going to get this.
Well, we will find out. I will get it if nothing else because I don't have a Catdanic today.
That's right.
So, who
boy.
inspired my sister, my mother, and I to keep Christmas trees up year round? It was, and the hint that I will give you is it was a famous male film star.
Okay, it's just getting hot in here.
So-
It was was it in the?
Maria Garden.
Huh?
Maria
You got it.
Garden. You got it.
And you thought it was going to take a long time.
But
The answer, did she say the answer? So the answer is
I cannot believe
Harold
it.
Lloyd, Lloyd. Harold Lloyd was a silent film star and a very good friend of my mother. When Carrie and I were little, we used
Oh
to go
my
over
gosh.
to his house. His house was right next to Jack Warner's estate off of Beverly Glen. Now, what was cool about this is when you would go into this mansion house, it was like a Wonderland house. He had some amazing things in that house.
Did you go there when you were a little
When
boy?
I was a little kid, yes.
And so, what do you remember like that?
I remember that I would walk. He used to love to play his pipe organ. He had a full-size pipe organ in his man cave. And the man cave had this beautiful European roof that was all ornate and covered in gold leaf. And when he would hit the low notes on the organ and the light was pouring in through these large Citizen Kane style windows, gold leaf would drop from the ceiling. So little stardust of gold leaf would drop down like snowing gold.
Right.
And Carrie and I were mesmerized by that. Now, when you would go down and see, we would have thought he was actually playing. But no. He had player piano and a player organ because he had lost 3 fingers while hanging from the clock in one of his films. If you remember the film.
Yeah, I do remember
It was
that.
called Safety First.
Yeah.
And he had lost 3 of his fingers, so only had part of his
But
hand.
didn't he have
He had a
some
prosthetic.
didn't we
But it
have
didn't
that?
help. We had my
And
mother
we-
had that.
And it was sold in which auction? Because I remember
Probably
that
the
piece.
first auction,
I
actually.
remember when I found it, and I'm like, "What is this?" And he told me that it was Harold Lloyd's
prosthetic. piece.
prosthetic piece for his hand because he lost 3
But let
fingers.
me get
and
to.
I thought, wow.
But let me drift it. So past that room to the left was a room that he had built especially for his Christmas tree, and he had a Douglas fir Christmas tree that was in the ground and planted And as far as I was concerned as a kid, it was 100 feet tall, but it was probably like 40 feet tall. And he had built a room around it with a glass Tiffany dome over the top, and it went way up into the sky. And he had decorated this tree with ornaments that he had found from all over the world. Some of the ornaments were huge. Well, at least in my mind, they were huge. I don't know if they're really that big.
Yes, he
They
did.
were big.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, Carrie and I were mesmerized by this. And the first chance we got when we had our own homes.
Wait, Lisa Eaton says Debbie has his piano. Is that true?
That is correct.
And we had his
Pool table.
in our house forever. His pool table. So that, but does Debbie? Is that?
No, the piano was sold at one of the auctions because
I
we
remember,
had.
yeah.
When my mother passed away, I had warehouses full of things, and there comes a time where you have to say, how many pianos can you have and
Right.
use? And I had other pianos that had other significance to me, but that was a very important piece. But needless to say, I hope somebody else who got it is really loving it, because that piano was right next to this pipe organ in that magical room. And that is what led us to keeping Christmas tree.
By the way,
year-round.
there's a kind of a thing going around out there, and Lisa Hissong, who's probably here tonight, if you are out there, Lisa, start posting some of the pictures of your house. What a lot of people are doing, and what Lisa did, was they put up their Christmas lights and their Christmas decorations.
I love the idea.
Inside the house, they put their decorations and lights up. And, especially when you have those little white twinkle lights, hang those up, because it's making people feel calm, peaceful, happier. And Lisa texted me a bunch of these.
What's wrong with the spirit of Christmas all the time?
Well, this is something that we do anyway. So, but by the way, I saw one of the cats the other day reach up and take an ornament. Now, not like a breakable ornament, but your mom had all kinds of little dolls that were knitted. So your cat,
My cat.
yes, Kelly reached up and snatched one of those ornaments off the tree, and it is now a cat toy. So we have to find that. Things
It
go.
depends.
Put it back.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
Okay.
so some of the toys that they would be tempted to grab actually have interesting significance.
Yeah,
Because
that's why I was thinking we should get it.
my grandmother needle pointed, and many of those ornaments were made by my grandmother. She needle pointed those ornaments by hand. So we don't want to let the cats chew those up like something you'd get at PetSmart.
Yep.
But needless to say, you notice how it's
Yes,
called
Cindy,
My
we do.
Cat. So,
We do keep a tree up. Maxine, yes, we keep our tree up. We will give you a little. We'll give you a little tour of that.
I say
tomorrow.
we should let's all put up decorations during this time.
Yeah, especially the little white lights, because and just put them up around your curtain rods, because it really, I'm telling you,
Even
just
if
get
you
your
have,
head.
get out the Christmas trees.
Get
I
your
don't
head
care.
in the space of that joy that we feel around that time of year. I can't even have a tree with my cats, Erica says.
I'm sure that early
Seth,
on when
good
they were
for
kittens,
you.
they would climb in the tree.
Holly Skaggs, on now. We had strong storms in Illinois. Yes, and also Emily Lard, who is a really good friend of mine, and she's here pretty much every night, lives in Arkansas, and they had bad tornadoes there, maybe are still. She was outside taking pictures of the tornado and texting them to me. They were really scary, and I said, get in the house. But in her mind, I think she feels like, because they don't have basements and cellars, if the tornado hits, I think she just feels like she's going to go up in a puff of dust. So why not get a picture of it? Because that is my, are they called storm chasers? Storm chaser friends. So Emily, I hope you're okay. I haven't seen you here. I told you to keep in touch with me every 20 minutes. And Dr. Koloski is here, one of my first, if not my very first hypnosis teacher. Nice to have you here. Yeah, we're all thinking about you, Emily, because those are big tornadoes. Everybody, and it reaches all the way from Texas to Illinois, Arkansas. It's like this huge area that's being affected by this. So we hope everybody out there stay safe. What are people supposed to do if with a tornado if they don't have a shelter. In all my time I have ever visited Arkansas, I only saw one house that had a safe room.
Well, in most places where this happens, they have places to go.
But they
And
come up like that. There's no warning like when we
Well,
get,
there is actually.
it's like an
warning.
earthquake.
No, there's not like an earthquake. There is more warning than earthquake. I'm not saying it
No,
can't
not
pop
all
up.
the time. Yeah,
But they know that like right now, they knew yesterday that this, we'll call it, the conditions were prime for storms to hit these areas. So everybody knew to be prepared.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of other things.
Can we unplug and go look at the Christmas tree for a second? Because people seem to really want to see it. Or will that just disrupt the whole thing?
It will shut everything down.
Okay, well,
I
then
think that,
tomorrow.
I'll tell you
we'll
what.
start there tomorrow. How about that?
Well, we could, or we could
Then
hold
you
it.
can see a lot of the pets because they're inside. And Nugget, by the way, someone just asked me, my rooster Nugget is doing really well. He is waking me up every morning at 6:30 with a very, I'd say a quarter of the way crow, wouldn't you? He's not at his full strength. But I don't mind being woken up by him because I know that he's getting better every day. He's doing great, so thanks for asking about that. So let's start with the Christmas tree tomorrow night. What do you say?
We can do that if you'd like to try that.
Because you see, we are already Doris Plaza. I have to acknowledge some of these people because of the way that I met them being so unusual. Doris Plaza. She's retired now. She was a New York City homicide detective, and I met her because I was in this group in New York called Hearts and Voices, and we would go to the New York City hospitals, AIDS wards, or people that were seriously ill and stuck in the hospital for long periods of time. And I went there to sing. So we had a piano in an empty hospital room, and I would go to everybody's room and say, "Hey, my name's Catherine Hickland. I'm going to be singing in the room down the hall. If you'd like to come, I'd like to have you." That was the hardest part for me because people were very sick and maybe not in the mood, and then other people were because they would look at me like, "Really? I'm on my way out. I really don't think I feel like doing that." And then there were other people that were just really excited to go and get entertained in a room. So I loved being a part of that group. And I walked into a room, and there was this very handsome black Billy D. Williams-ish kind of handsome, patient that was in his bed, and he couldn't speak. He was awake, but he couldn't speak. And so I sat down next to him and started to tell him. And they had to bring in this, because he couldn't move or speak, and they had to bring in this big bed to get him in it. And Doris Plaza, who I'd never met before, was his partner, because he was also a New York City detective, homicide, I think. But so she was his partner, and she was visiting him, and so she freaked out. I think that she was just so happy to meet me, which made me feel really good. And she and I became great friends. And so William Howard was his name. And I would visit him a lot, even when I wasn't going there to sing in the rooms, because there was something about Billy that really got inside under my skin. And so Doris and I became really good friends, and I'd go every day. And unfortunately, he was just deteriorating because they had to eventually put him on a feeder. But it was such an honor to usher him out, and onto his graduation to heaven over the period of months. And Doris, I think I remember every single minute of us being together in his room, and all of our times meeting for dinner, and me coming to the precinct and saying, "Have you got any grizzlies?" I used to call homicide photograph grizzlies because I grew up watching or reading true crime stuff. So I know that that's weird, but I just think that you're so awesome, Doris, and I hope you're enjoying your retirement. What an amazing thing for a woman to choose that as a career. So there you go. There's my story of how I met Doris Plaza. And I really did love that time. Glad that isn't so prevalent anymore, that wards are filled with people dying from that, because we've come such a long way.
Thank you for this.
Thank you. Hello, Drew. How are you? Love to have you, my friend from England, my fantastically talented singer friend. And, everyone's thanking Doris for her service. That is so great. So let's do, by the way, the person that won the cat, Dana, Madia, did she say what color she wants? You are all set then. Do you have another trivia question you would like to do? I'm going to do one.
I do, because what'll happen is it will lead into that. Now,
all right.
What I would be doing, though, is telling the story of either the back lot, and we run the film clips, or we tell the story of Ridgeway, Colorado, Debbie's Meadow, and we run the clip from that.
Well,
So-
how are you going to run a clip?
I'm going to run it because I'm going to put the picture on the screen off of my laptop, and I'll put it in front of the camera, and I think it'll actually look
Or
okay.
you could do it on
I
there,
was
and
trying
it will
to
look
find-
even better.
No, I can't find it on here because I don't have it on here, because this doesn't have anything, whereas that does have things.
Okay.
And that might lead to a trivia question, as most things
Well,
eventually
then,
do.
can I do a trivia question? Or
You may-
or
you
can
may-
I do the number thing? Because people love the number, and I love the number too.
Okay, so you just want to
I mean, I
jump
don't love
into-
the number 2. I mean, I love it.
What is your
TOO.
giveaway for the number? What
Oh,
are you
okay.
doing?
So for this one, I'm going to do a cat cosmetics product, because we have some really cool stuff that I think that you will like. But this is one of my favorite things. This is the one thing I carry because it can fit in my pocket, or it can fit in my wallet. If there's one thing I take with me in the house, out of Cat Cosmetics, I am never without this. So here's what it is. It's called Beige Lights. This is the prize. That's why you're seeing it, and it's really portable, and it's just gorgeous. So let me see if I can show it to you, if you can see that, and then I'll show you what it does. So I'll show it to you here. I will put it here. I'll swatch it for you. So I don't know if you can see this, and then I'll put it on my face. So if you can see this right here, this we're a little on a delay. So it's beige and it's gold, right? And it's soft, and you can use it on your cheeks, your lips, your eyes. So if I don't have anything else in my wallet, I thought I had a little mirror here. Oh yeah, I do. I'll show you why I carry it. And Beige Lights, it's called. So this is going to be the prize, and let me show you how to use it in case you win it. So right now my lips are just okay. So I wanted to, there you go. If I just put it on my lips, all right, you can see what it does. It kind of just makes them light up my face. If my skin is looking a little dull, now on camera, anything that has shimmer in it tends to really read way more than it does in person. So on my eyes, I can put it here. I can also put it on my lids. I can put it on my nose, or I can put it here as a highlighter. If I'm not wearing any makeup, then I might, put it. I can do this, but what I'm doing now, you're going to really notice because it's going to be on camera. So what that is that it highlights, and it just really looks great on the lips, on everything. So right now, I guess you can see it. Can you see it, girl? There you go. Dora is checking me out. And so what it does is it just kind of makes your face light up. It's just an incredible product. Lips, eyes, and cheeks. So this is the one thing I always have with me. So that is the prize, Beige Lights. We're going to play the numbers game for those of you who have never played the numbers game. I'll explain to you what it is. I am a mentalist and a hypnotist. So when I do my show, I hypnotize people, and I also can read their minds. So this time, instead of me doing that, I'm going to have you read my mind. I'm going to think of a number in a moment. I'm going to write it down. And when I do, I'm then going to tell you when I'm throwing you the number. And I'm going to give you a hint. but I want you to go with the first number that comes to you. That's you using your intuition. So I'm going to say in a moment, all right, in a moment, I am going to send that number to you right now. Go ahead and think about what that might be. Dora is watching for the first winner because she's not on a delay like we are, and you will let me know when someone does win. I'm going to look down here at my magic. Okay, let me know. Oh, sorry, it's 2 digits. It's between 1 and 50. 2 digits between 1 and 50. So there you go. That will give you some idea. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to think it to you again. 2 digits between 1 and 50, and you will win the beige lights. Dora's on it. Are you looking on the computer? Okay. I hope there's not a delay on that computer.
Well, even if there is, you still get the answer.
Hey, Dan Kroll! Oh my gosh! Hey, happy anniversary for your company. I have enjoyed every minute, every year. Hard to believe. Beth Hughes out of Seattle, Washington, or somewhere nearby there. I know I see you on Facebook all the time. I know you're in upstate Washington, or as I call it, Washington AC, above California. She was the first to guess the number 14. All right. Hey, how many times did it take you? That's what I'm wondering. I love when people guess that out of the gate. It means they're listening to their gut. Beth Hughes, go ahead and private message me your address, and we will send you a beige lights, and you will love it. All right, so there we go. Dan Kroll is in the house. Dan Kroll is in the house. Dan was and is the keeper of the soap opera everything. He's such an amazing personality, and I just love what your imagination comes up with. You're funny. You have a pet bunny. I love you because of that alone. And he's a great friend. So welcome, Dan Kroll. I'm super glad you're here. One of these days, I'm going to have you as a guest when we get this up and running, because you are just the man of it all. You know everything. You never think about everybody, but you know what? You're just a good person, and you're very funny, and I love that. Okay, so have you thought of any trivia for your?
No, it's not how it's going to work. We're
going to tell a story, and then you're going to lead into a question. So then I think I should move aside and let you come into the light here.
Well, what we can do is, let me see if I can do this right.
Okay.
I'm going to run a film clip. So yesterday there were some questions asked about the back lots and also Debbie's Meadow. Now currently I have the back lot footage up on my laptop. So now this is silent footage, and I'm going to do my best to share it with you via the laptop. And
Let me just make sure that there's no glare, so I'll step on this side.
So here we go. Off we go.
Is that when you were?
So this is the MGM back lot, and we're playing War. In fact, this was one of my birthday parties. That's Carrie and her friends. That was our little Chrysler station wagon.
There's Carrie.
Yep, that's Carrie, and that's a guy named Jay, who was my friend, and there's Carrie again. Now the girls, Carrie was allowed to bring her friends as long as they were willing to be nurses to patch us back up. There's Mike Miner, John Courtney, I think it's May Quigley, and some of Carrie's friends. You can notice in the background, there's the showboat from Showboat that was there for about 2 seconds. Let me brighten this up a little bit too while we're at it. But so then you could see we're having our little meal. Now we're on the pirate ship. This was used in Plymouth Adventure. Now, and we have our army gear on while we're doing the Plymouth Adventure, so that's kind of odd. But I'll also post this thing on social media so you can watch it on your own. There's the pirate ship. And that's all on the back lot, and that's like Tortuga Bay right there. And if you, or many other films, I mean, they just redecorated the buildings accordingly. There's Carrie with Shelley Davis. Shelley was one of Carrie's best friends. And we're coming back around to the showboat. There's the showboat. my mother is filming all this with a handheld camera. Now you can see the hills. Now these are the sort of the rocks where the Indians would get attacked or vice versa. And what was amazing about this back lot is how, just in a matter of minutes, how you could go from one climate to another. There's all the Western wagons. You could be in a Western town 1 minute, and then, or the next minute, you could be in a castle, or you could be on the showboat going up and down the Mississippi. Now there we are in the mountains with our spears doing the cowboy and Indian deal. And obviously, that is some of my backlot home movie footage. And I'm going to plug my computer back in because I know that takes up a lot of energy. Are you okay on that over there? Yeah. So that I will post that to make it more interesting and bigger and better for you guys in the future. But when you're asked by your mother, where do you want to have your birthday party? A lot of kids say Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. We would say, let's go to the back lot, because the back lot offered an unlimited place for your imagination to go wild. And one of the greatest things that you can inspire in a child is their imagination. And one thing my mother did brilliantly with Carrie and I, maybe she went over the top with Carrie, I actually think probably went too far, was she did let our imaginations run wild. And no matter what we wanted to do within reason, that especially something that led to creativity on any level, she was right there to let us do it. So I do encourage everybody to let your kids play in the dirt and let them build things and forts, and all of that stuff requires an imagination. And I think today it also inspires common sense. You start to learn little things in those adventures. And these are good life lessons. And I think we're lacking some of that today. I know in some of the youth that I run into, there's a large gaping hole in the common sense department, it seems. And I'm not sure what brought that on. But I do know that my mother was really good at allowing us to have a certain amount of freedom and be very creative. And that led to her children being creative and Carrie being off the hook creative.
Okay, so that leads me to a great question. And I'd love to know.
Is this a trivia question?
No, but do you have a trivia question for them?
No, not yet. Not yet. I mean, I'll get there.
But you just said
I could
something
do
that gets me going. Here it is. The question is not a trivia question. It's a question I'm really curious to what you all think. Can common sense be learned? Because you were talking about common sense, and it's my favorite topic. Can common sense be learned? So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
I think my opinion on that is that people learn it through their upbringing. So when you look at your parents and how they act in life, and or your grandparents, or just people around you, if they are constantly running around like chickens with their heads cut off, that might get handed down to you if you're not careful. So I think we learn from our parents.
So is common sense a behavioral thing? Is it something you learn behaviorally? Is it innate? Is it something you're born with? I've always been curious about that, because we'll often meet somebody that absolutely, if they are faced with the right choice and the wrong choice that has bad consequences, they will choose the wrong choice. And so you kind of have to wonder where that comes from. And me being a student of the mind for now and forever, I've always wondered.
Well, here's a good place to look. Carrie and I were raised in identical environments. Yet, in certain areas, Carrie lacked common sense.
Here's interesting. Josie,
yet she was one of the smartest people I have ever known.
Right. My dad was brilliant, had not an ounce of common sense.
It's not about IQ.
Yes, common sense can be learned through example.
That's what I meant about your parents and things. But on the other hand, if that were 100% true, Carrie would have had loads of common sense, because my mother had loads of common sense. So I'm just saying, I don't think there's any pat answer to this. I do.
No, but people are giving great. No, it can be encouraged and developed, though.
Now that's true.
Maxine Moody. So it's modeled behavior.
So my grandmother was a model. Maxine, by the way, another Maxine. She was a student of
Yes.
sort of like Benjamin Franklin
Deb
colloquialisms.
Rouse, good point.
She loved phrases like "God helps those who helps themselves," and swore that was in the Bible. But years later, I found out it's Poor Richard's
Kaiser.
Almanac. But there is wisdom in a lot of, especially in our grandparents. There's stuff that they've learned, sometimes the hard way.
People are answering great answers. It's so interesting. She says, yes, it can absolutely be learned. And I would love to have you say again why. Because to me, I mean, if I write this on Facebook, which I do once a year, can common sense be learned? Go. It gets no less than 3,000 comments on my page and I do it once a year because it is such a mystery. Here, Debbie Rouse, like you and Carrie, you were raised under the same house, 1 year apart, by the same parents under the same circumstances, yet you had a lot of differences.
So the good news and the bad news is Carrie was exposed to my father more than I was.
Yeah, a year more. A little more, yeah. But I'm not saying that's the only answer, but my father had zero common sense. And so maybe, who knows. But I also would like to say that this time we are in today is a brilliant time to deploy common sense. Because common sense is what's going to protect us. It's what's going to make us do the right thing to help our neighbors, to protect ourselves, to heal our country. And I think common sense is a valuable thing, and I do think that Americans are great at this. I think that countries that practice communism and other forms of that, or watered down forms of it, the people are not encouraged to be independent thinkers, to be people to think in terms of common sense. You are told to do this, this, and this like a robot. And one thing that, Americans have a lot of freedom. And have had a lot of freedom for generations. Yeah.
And we hand that down, and we hand it down, and down, and down. And that freedom came at a very, very sharp price. And again, right now, we're experiencing a loss of freedom that was paid for. But we're doing it for a very good reason, and we have to use common sense to understand that this is for a good reason. Anyway, that's my rant.
I love the subject of common sense, and it's just so fantastic to see what everybody's saying. I also want to just say Emily Lard just entered the room. There you go.
How is the
I gave
action
her
out
the applause because you are not being swept away by the tornado. That makes me very happy.
Well, you don't know. She
Hello,
could be
Paula
logging
and
on from the
Warren.
next county.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, that's interesting because a lot of people are saying the same thing. Well, Kathy Jean says, I was taught to be considerate to others. Isn't that beautiful? I hope parents that are listening today.
What is
have
that
young-
word? Manners.
That's right.
Manners. Is that a Chinese,
No, that's-
or is that like come with the sweet and sour duck?
Yes, and also to respect the elderly. I mean, that is just like, oh my gosh, why parents need to instill this in their kids so much because you too one day shall be the elderly, and you don't want to be forgotten. Like I said, they're inside their head, they're still their favorite age. Let's say it's 25. We always want to make sure that we treat the elderly with total respect. Open their door, ask if there's anything you can do for them. It's just really important. So, Emily,
Trivia.
I'm glad you're
Trivia.
here. Trivia time.
Trivia.
All right, we have trivia. What's the prize?
I hear the trivia.
What's the prize?
So it's a prize.
Well, that is a good
Before
question.
the question, you have to have
Before
the
the
prize.
question comes
Because
the announcement.
people can be also motivated.
By the hand sanitizer, or should it be
Oh,
something?
yeah. So here we have. So we have as the prize a beautiful bottle of hand sanitizer.
Now,
can-
normally to give a bottle of hand sanitizer
It's
away
not
as
a
a
big
prize
deal,
would
but-
be like a wah.
But now, a bottle of hand
The big
sanitizer.
winner,
You may
and-
pick whether you want the hand sanitizer with CBD or the plain non-CBD hand sanitizer, but this stuff is fantastic. And we have a nice big bottle here, and that's going to be the prize. That is also available on Cat Cosmetics. But what a great prize. Let's do it, okay? So, CBD or no CBD
Okay.
hand sanitizer? What is the question,
Here comes
sir?
the answer first to Dora.
Oh, that's right. The beautiful
What?
Dora is getting...
What? Moments ago, we saw some footage of the back lot of MGM Studios, and lurking in the pond were two ships. One of the ships was a showboat from the movie Showboat. Now,
Oh, boy.
what was the famous song sung from the stern of that riverboat that made you cry your eyes out?
Oh, okay. So
Bobby knew the answer.
do you know the answer over there you're looking for? Okay.
You're waiting for the answer.
The beautiful Dora is looking.
And I'm not giving any more hints because there were a lot of good songs in that thing, like, you know, but this Jerome Kearns.
got it?
Jerome
Okay,
Kearns.
who got
I'm
it?
going to double check.
Okay.
Okay, so the answer is
we have to get the winner.
Yeah, but
And then
she's
the
going to
answer.
look up the winner.
She's making
Old
sure.
Man River.
making sure that I don't call the wrong name.
Yeah.
So
Jerome Kearns, Old Man River.
I'm waiting to hear it
And
with a
man,
name.
I tell you, like every time I see that scene, it
What'd you
chokes
say?
me up.
1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Down Renta.
Dawn
Okay,
Renta. Dawn Renta of Pennsylvania. You know, I'm telling you,
Where in
you think I'm
Pennsylvania?
not paying attention to where everybody's from, what they do, even what you look like? I have a lot, 15,000 plus Facebook people, and I'm hard pressed to say I know pretty much what they all look like. How scary is that? I've had a lot of time on my hands.
Well, that was
Dawn
a good
Renta,
one.
you have won the hand sanitizer coming your way. Just let us know by typing it in. Would you like CBD in the hand sanitizer, or would you like the regular non-CBD? Let us know.
Just for my own little 2 cents worth
Yeah.
on this, I've been using the CBD hand sanitizer
I have too, yeah.
because I play a lot of golf and I had fractured a finger, so I have a little bit of pain in my 2 fingers. And I have to admit that it really does cut down on that. It really actually makes a difference. You know, it
Yeah.
can be psychosomatic, but either way you look at it, it works.
Hey, exactly. Because for years I've had a sore thumb.
A lot of people claim it works,
Yeah,
and I, you know,
and my thumb, when I would get a manicure, and when he would touch my thumb and twist it, I'd be like, "Oh my God, it hurts." And so I've been using this hand sanitizer. Do you want the
she
CBD?
wants the CBD.
Yeah.
Wise choice. Now, see, common sense was deployed.
Comments? That's right. But my thumb doesn't hurt anymore. It's so weird. Now, is that a coincidence? Maybe.
No, I think it cuts
is it.
down.
Is it? Yeah, but it's such a joy not to have that. All right.
Next.
How many people are watching our shows each night? Well, live we usually have somewhere in the 300 to 500 range, but within a couple of days, Cindy Harris is asking, we are up to in the thousands range, sometimes 1,500, 2,000, 3,000. I don't know what makes people
Actually,
come in.
you've had one even more. The one we did on in the entry hall was 5,000.
Lisa, that's funny. Yeah, we had a 5,000 people watch. So you know what? It's great. People that can't watch it live.
Well,
will
we're not
catch it
really
later.
broadcasting outside of Facebook either. The
Yeah.
intent here was to try to do this for the friends and family, so to speak. So it wasn't exactly like we were trying to, get out on the major network. I think that it's more intimate this way, and we can talk to people
Yeah.
more directly. And speaking of talking directly, shall we do this story about Debbie's Meadow now?
Okay, you do, and then you will come up with a question. I'm going to look for a prize while you do that.
Well, now
So
we
do you
have
have
all
any?
those other
Do you
ones
have
over
any
there.
of? I loved
I have
you
Debbie's
showing
stuff.
that video.
I
That
have
was
bright
really
lights.
cool.
Let's just do bright lights. 'cause
Yeah.
it's,
Okay.
okay.
Kathy Jean, I also have without the CBD because some people prefer that. So there you go. If you have,
Okay, so what we're going to do now,
All
or what I'm
right.
going to do, I'm going to tell you a story and I'm going to show you some more home movies. If you like that is.
All right, I'm going to move aside and let you do that and find a prize in case you.
Well, I thought maybe bright lights, since this is kind of a Debbie question and maybe is relevant along those lines. What we're going to do here is we're going to bring up a different set of videos. Here we go. So this is how the West Was Won footage taken by my mom again, or if you see my mother, it's because she's in the shot. That's Carrie and I as little kids. And this is on the set of How the West Was Won, a little lower. And you could see the crew in the background, and the lights and the cameras and the stagecoach. And there's my mom in the brown dress. And this is a very important scene, and this is going to be our trivia question. She's wearing that brown dress, and she's by a creek, and she and Thelma Ritter are traveling cross country. But you can see we were given pretty much free reign to that back lot. Now, to that location, my mother drug us around with her, which was very remarkable for a person to do this, because most people in her position didn't want to deal with the kids.
But your mom was amazing with her little Bell and Howell camera.
She ran around all over the place with that. I was trying to find this footage. I don't see the other footage from the field, so I'm going to just tell you the story. So that was the home movie. You can plug that back in, and many years later, I found that meadow. It was a very famous meadow. Henry Hathaway, the director, loved that meadow. So in the movie True Grit, John Raines running across that meadow with his reins in his teeth. And it's a pretty famous sequence. So Henry Hathaway went back there a lot. It's not far from the town Ridgway, not far from the town Ouray, Colorado, not far from the town Telluride. And so our family bought a home there and some land, and we began to visit that place over the decades. And my grandparents loved to spend their summers there. My mom would visit. We'd all visit. Carrie would visit. And we had great memories of being on location for not just How the West Was Won, but another movie as well. Now, we're going to come back to that because that's going to be our trivia question. So, How the West Was Won, Debbie's Meadow. I went back to that meadow when Carrie and I and Kat were up in Telluride for the Bright Lights. That's why I think we should do the DVD Bright Lights, because it makes sense. So that's going to be our giveaway tonight, is the DVD of Bright. We were there for the Telluride Film Festival, sort of the premiere of Bright Lights. And we went back to this meadow, which is 30 minutes, but it's off-road, four-wheel drive up into the high country. And we, as I was pulling out into this meadow, my phone rings. I didn't even know you could have cell phone reception up there. And it was my mother who was not able to make that trip. And I mean, you talk about an amazing coincidence is a horrible word, but she happened to call the moment I was pulling into that meadow. And I had my phone and I said, "Thank you for bringing us to these places when Carrie and I were little and not leaving us at home like everybody else did. They left their kids at home." And I mean, I choked myself up. And, and she was surprised that I happened to be standing there right when she called. But it was a meaningful place for us. And this meadow is still there and can be visited right above Ridgway up by the Owl Creek Reservoir. And it's a magical place. Now, I have two trivia questions that I could bring into play here. Right. I'm going to try this one, but I'm not sure anybody's going to get it. But let's try this one first.
All right, I'm coming.
Now, you all saw Debbie's meadow in that home footage.
And anybody that saw Bright Lights saw it.
That is true.
Yes.
In the scene that was shot in that meadow, Thelma Ritter and everybody's on a wagon train. My mother and Thelma Ritter were traveling together, and they're camping in that spot, and there's a river there. A particular actor comes up to my mother in that scene.
So you want the actor's name?
I want the actor's name that came up to my mother and proposed to her.
Uh-oh.
So, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, let me look here. I'll do it.
But you better be paying attention.
I'm
here.
on it.
Okay, so he's watching like a hawk. He's over there watching.
Up, Seth.
Robichaux.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Here you go.
The Music Man, Robert Preston, said to my mother the most eloquent words when proposing to a woman. "You know, childbearing to you would come like rolling off of a log." And my mother said, "Frankly, I'd rather roll off of a log." And it was a cute little scene.
Yep.
And she's in a wet T-shirt before wet T-shirt contests were famous and popular.
They are so 70s wet T-shirt contests. Do people do them anymore? I mean,
Well,
really?
I think they're very important.
Okay, now listen, Seth Robichaux, you probably have a copy of Bright Lights. So because you are a super fan.
Okay, but we're gonna we'll give him something else.
If you do, then you just tell us. And
We'll give him the CD, maybe.
No, he has that too.
He has
He has everything.
Yes, he's your mom's biggest fan. He
How
knows,
about These Old Broads? Do you have that?
He has that.
What the heck?
Yes. So Seth, you just write me a PM and tell me what you would like.
Okay,
and
so
we will try to
because
figure
Seth got
out.
that, I'm going to hit you with part 2 trivia question. Has to do with the same general vicinity. Here is the question. So this is for a Bright Lights DVD.
Okay, so Seth, you'll get
whatever
else.
we're going to give. You're going to give him if he wants a hand sanitizer.
No, whatever
or,
you
whatever.
want, Seth. We'll
Whatever
figure it
you
out.
want, Seth.
Yeah.
That's it. Up to okay. Here comes the next trivia question on this evening's competition. What other Debbie Reynolds movie was shot in that same area? It's a very easy one.
Oh.
Very easy for those of us that grew up on Little Debbie Reynolds or the Teeny Weeny Movie Star. Teeny Tiny Movie Star.
Teeny tiny movie star.
got it.
Who got it?
Who got it?
Latest.
Styles got
Molly Brown.
the unsinkable,
The Unsinkable
Molly Brown.
Molly Brown.
That's right.
So-
I love that movie.
The Last Dollar.
Look at Seth. He probably sat it out like a gentleman and waited.
Yeah, you know, you can't take
he is,
old
but he
trivia.
doesn't. He's
nice
like
guy.
one of those great people that'll say, "Give that to the person that got it second." I mean, he's a good.
Well, that's why I tried to
Yeah.
come up with something second. Now, The Unsinkable Molly Brown was filmed in the same area. There's a road that connects Ridgeway to Telluride called the Last Dollar Road, Silver Dollar Divide. And on a ranch on that road is where they shot the scene between Harv Presnell and my mother, where he sings, "I'll never say no to you."
Okay. So, do you know what story that I'm thinking of right now?
Hit it, it's your turn.
But do you know?
You go for it. Whatever.
Yeah, but do you know?
I don't know. You'll tell us.
You don't know if you say, "I'll never say no to you."
No. You mean when I sang it to you?
Yes.
In
That-
your face?
In my ear from behind.
Ooh.
On our
I'll
first
never
date.
say no to you.
On our first date.
Whatever you say or do. If you ask me to wait for a lifetime, you know I'd gladly wait for a lifetime or two. Just to look at you. I'll smile when you say be glad. I'll weep if you want me sad. Today is tomorrow, if you want it so. I'll stay or I'll go, but I'll never say no.
But
That's it.
I'll never say no.
He sang that to my mommy in the field.
That's right. So when we had our first date, which many months had led up to that, of writing to each other and doing the full disclosure and everything we told you about, it was bam, because we both had written to each other about each other and ourselves and getting to know each other for a few months at least, every single day. And so when we saw each other for the first time, we had a really great dinner with our friends Dawn and Henry, because it was here in Vegas and it was at their house. And I think we were both, it was just an electrical kind of feeling, because we'd waited a long time for this moment and writing to each other. So I was standing at the end of the night in his motorhome, his RV, which he had driven from California. And he came up behind me and sang that in my ear. Not that loud, but really soft. And I swear, I was like, I'm finished. It's over. I am done. this. Who's going to sing "I'll Never Say No" in your ear? Okay, so that was it. That was the end of my single days, wasn't it?
That's it.
The end.
And the rest, my friends, is history.
Right. Exactly. Hey guys, I'm just going to take one more peek at what people are saying down here. Thank you so much. And tomorrow night, Peggy will tell the RV test story because that was really a fun one. And I'm going to end the
make a
show
note of
because
that.
we've been here a
Tell
long
the
time.
RV test story.
Tell the RV test story tomorrow. We'll do that.
Yeah, that's a
We're
good
going to
one.
say goodnight because we've been here a
Good
long
night,
time.
Tracy.
And I still have to cook dinner. That's right. Dan Kroll just wanted to say if anybody wants to look up Dan Kroll, his website is soapcentral.com. Soapcentral.com. And Dan, I hope you'll be back with us. It was really neat to have you. Don't know if Candy Clark is still here, but if you are, that's right. Just wanted to give you your props. And I hope you'll come back. Can't wait to interview one of these days. I have so many great questions. And okay, so we're going to say goodnight. Here we go. That's right. There's no place like home. That's right. And I hope that you're safe and sound in yours. And we really loved having you tonight. God bless you. Remember, breathe deep. And although remember to put your hands back when you take that breath in. And just go ahead and let your body relax. Let your mind relax. This too shall pass. And then in the meantime, we have each other. And God bless you, everybody. Good night. Thanks so much for coming.